The following is intended only for mature audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Let's blow something up.
In 1996, former Atari employees Mike Riedel and Vince Desi were tired of making the same old edutainment software, like, for example, the Sesame Street lineup of video games for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or the countless amounts of Sesame Street games for computers, and Tom and Jerry on the Super Nintendo. Yeah, their lineup was pretty sad, but eventually they decided that enough was enough and formed Running with Scissors as a subsidiary of Riedel Software Productions in 1996, starting development of their first game, Postal. This game, which was heavily inspired by the likes of Robotron 2084, has you going about town as the Postal Dude, who just so happened to snap for some reason and believes that the entire town is infected with some kind of hate plague. So what else to do to disinfect the town than by killing their population? The game, when it came out, was immediately met with harsh criticisms, some for stupid reasons, and some for completely understandable reasons. But personally, the way I see it, I think the boiling point was when the United States Postal Service issued out a cease and desist to Vince Desi, and then later on went full-on lawsuit mode, tried to allege libel and defamation against the workers who work incredibly hard to get the mail out to the people that need it. Of course, by now, we already know that the case was laughed out of the courtroom in 2002 with prejudice, which led to Running with Scissors creating their most iconic hit, Postal 2. Gone were the days of being a psychopath killing your entire town because you think that they're all ill with something, and in came the cat silencers, the crack pipes, and the petition you had to harass people to sign.
Sign my petition, damn it.
No way, you freaking piece of shit.
Then, after the success of Postal 2, Running with Scissors attempted to try and make another game, this time with Akela. This would be a fatal mistake, as Postal 3 would come out after years of delays, mostly caused by the 2008 Russian market collapse. Then in 2014, after the game Postal 2 had finally been greenlit on Steam to be sold on the Steam storefront, they finally got to work on a DLC pack that ultimately saved their company, Postal 2 Paradise Lost. And due to the funds from that game, they were able to remake the one game that had built their entire company. And that game is Postal Redux. Now, what essentially Postal Redux is an entire retelling, remastering, or essentially just a full-on remake of the original 1997 twin-stick shooter game. Alongside this, there's some quality of life improvements, including full controller support. Voice lines are being redone so that they don't sound as compressed as they did in the 90s edition.
Nothing like the smell of burning government cheese in the morning. Nothing like the smell of burning government cheese in the morning.
And the artwork for both the level starters, and furthermore have been redone fully so that way they have that new, clean look that most people come to expect when they expect a remake. The strategies are essentially the same as you would expect in the original Postal, with killing hostiles being your main goal, innocence being completely optional, but aside from that, you just shoot, run, dodge missiles, and try and survive to make it to the next level. It's just as simple as that. If you know how to use the text feature in the game, you can enter cheat codes, and also enter a code to unlock a bonus feature, the ability to play as Not Important from Hatred. The game also allows you to have fun beyond just playing the game with visual effects. So if you wanted to play the game in the color palette of Hatred, or even in a Game Boy Color palette, if you're one of those guys, then there's a special effect just for you. Multiplayer is a very conditional situation. 9 times out of 10, the lobbies are empty, and whenever you do get into one, someone has really bad internet, which leads to that. Plus, online multiplayer is limited only to PC because Running with Scissors would rather not pay royalties to Sony and Nintendo for a game that probably will not have a return investment. Smart move. In Postal Redux, they added a new level to make the game feel just a bit newer than the original, called the Carnival. In this, well, it's pretty obvious. You go postal at a carnival. But as a part of this, not only do you unlock Not Important from Hatred, but you also get to play as one of the clowns, if you wanted to. But the fact that Running with Scissors was more than willing to add an entire new level instead of just packaging a full-on remake shows the commitment that they have to this game. And that's what I love from indie studios like Running with Scissors. Now, let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. They replaced the ending, instead of it being at an elementary school, with a church. It's still the same hallucination of the postal dude having something freak him out so much that the supposed demon that was possessing him the entire game decides to leave, leaving the real postal dude at the realization of what he has done. And then it ends off with Corey Cruz getting his chance at the sweet, sweet spotlight. I think the guy deserves another chance like this. He's got talent.
The urban environment is the incubator for all sorts of undesirable behaviors. However much his atrocities disgust us, he may actually consider himself a hero. This is common among those who, in the popular slang, go postal. In his tortured mind, he may feel that he's battling against impossible odds. It is not unusual for such individuals to believe that the entire fate of the world rests with them. In the end, the subject has displayed all the classic symptoms of paranoid delusions. We may never know exactly what set him off, but rest assured, we will have plenty of time to study him.
Now, I'm going to be serious for a minute and try my best to explain this in the least funniest and respectful way possible. Why was this ending changed? Now, I don't think I really need to elaborate further, because by the time I had started this episode's production around September 4th, there had already been 2 consecutive school shootings in the United States alone. But this is what John Marchant of Running with Scissors had to say. Naturally, during the development of Postal Redux, we discussed various aspects we would change to improve the experience, and the ending was part of that. We all collectively decided that the overall feel of the level wasn't cohesive to the game and not appropriate for the current climate. The elementary school has been changed to the end. This will transition the ending of the game more appropriately into the dude's psychosis, and will reflect a more accurate representation of how we feel the game should have always ended. The final level in the original Postal was very misrepresented in the media, who often said it was possible to kill children, but this was never the case, as the entire thing was a cinematic dream sequence where the protagonist attempted to shoot up a school, but failed as his bullets and rockets had no effect on the NPCs. The whole idea of the original ending no longer applies anyway. It was supposed to depict something that, at the time, in 1997, would have been completely unthinkable and out of touch with reality. Tragically, the sad truth is that, in today's world, it is no longer an unthinkable nightmare, but a very depressing reality. We're all very happy with our choice of direction, and we believe that the new ending is an improvement that people will enjoy. The CEO of Running with Scissors, Vince Desi, is strongly against child abuse of any type. He was very upset when he noticed a dead baby in one of the illustrations for Postal, the original 1997 cut. So when Redux came around, he had that fixed. Personally, I think Running with Scissors made a very good decision when working on Postal Redux. They fixed everything that could have possibly went wrong, and it ultimately paid off. This is possibly what might just be one of my favorite remakes ever made. But while yes, it has its flaws, it's still a pretty solid game. If you have $10, give it a whirl. We give Postal Redux for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and PC a 4.5 out of 5. Hey everyone. I just want to share some quick stuff before we end this episode off. You may be wondering why I did a remake of Postal Redux. Well, that's what we started with. On October 4th, 2023, our first episode of G4ever, now Freeplay, was a review of Postal Redux. And to celebrate the first anniversary of G4ever ever being founded and launched as even if just as a show instead of a network, that's our launch date. And I wanted to celebrate the only way I knew I could, by remaking the first thing we had ever done as a studio. And I never thought that this network would go as far as it has. But we have so much support. We have an entire team of people that we've built, and I hope to build that team even bigger so that we can finish creating and working on the shows that we had promised were in the works. And we have so many people that just believe in us, and I never thought that would be possible. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything. G4ever literally would have been nothing without your support. Without you. And I also want to personally thank the people that fund G4ever via the merch or the G4ever Plus page. It doesn't matter where you support me. Any support is great to me. Even if it just means sharing a video or getting somebody into this. I never thought this would be physically possible, but here I am. And I have you to thank for it. So now that we've made it a whole year, let's keep doing this. Let's keep playing. Because we never will stop playing. My name is Dan. This has been Freeplay. And until we meet again, friends, G4 faithful, shebang.